Hoagland, you confessed to having unprotected sex with your husband, Mr. Hoagland, as well as a coworker within the same time period.
That's
now you
correct.
say you're here today because questions about paternity have haunted your marriage since the birth of your firstborn, 3-year-old Bentley.
That is correct.
Mr. Hoagland, you admit you treat Bentley differently than the other 2 children you and Mrs. Hoagland share. You contend he does not look like photos of you when you were a child, and he also doesn't look like you now when you compare pictures of him to you as an adult. You confess today's result could either save or destroy your marriage. Ms. Hoagland, what's at stake for you today?
Well, Your Honor, my marriage has been a complete nightmare. Randy has held this big cloud over my head for far too long, making me feel guilty for something I feel like I shouldn't feel guilty for. Yes, I admit that I did sleep with a coworker, but that was before me and Randy even started dating.
But in my defense, it was because she had unprotected sex with him.
So this relationship really is in jeopardy.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, take me back. You accuse her of cheating with a coworker.
And really knew I liked her from the moment I saw her. This guy that she got with obviously took advantage of her.
And why did I get with him? I got with him because your roommate, your controlling roommate at this company, told me that you were interested in dating anyone. The second day that I met you, I told him I was interested in you, and he told me not to even worry because you were celibate.
Well, I was practicing celibacy. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think it's a bad thing.
That you
the
weren't
fact of the
interested in a
matter is that
relationship.
I approached you. The point is that you should not have went to him first, and you should have
He
come
asked
to
me a
first.
simple question, Randy, if I was interested in anybody on
I just
crew.
feel like she
So the
And I
bottom line
yes,
is you guys
Randy.
got together, you had sex, but you had already had sex with a coworker.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
But-
you find out you're pregnant.
But a week prior.
I found out I was pregnant 2 months later. I thought I was only 2 or 3 weeks pregnant when I found out.
A week.
Come to find out, my doctor told me I was, in fact, 2 months along.
Yeah,
So-
8 weeks. A week went by.
Oh.
Then you came up that day, that particular evening. I believe it was a Friday, because he had left for that weekend. Then you came up to my room. But 3 weeks went by before me and you had sex, right?
Okay, but him cheating on her has nothing to do with the paternity as it relates to this child. I'm trying to get down to the facts that relate to Bentley's paternity.
I have the facts, Your Honor,
I-
and I would like to present them to
I
you.
would love to hear some facts that are relevant to this case.
This is the month that I conceived my son. As you can see, on the 2nd is when I had an intimate relationship with my coworker.
In blue.
Yes. And then on the 20th of June is when I started an intimate relationship with my now husband.
Okay, and so when is the window of conception?
I spoke to my doctor, and my doctor told me that the window of conception was in this first week of June.
So that would indicate that the coworker
Would be
Bentley's father.
Yes.
And so when you look at Bentley, when he was born, do you think he looked like you?
When he was born, I was happy. But I noticed after he was probably about 4 months when we moved, I noticed, a child it takes like 90 days, I do know that it takes 90 days before they start to really kind of develop what their eyes are going to potentially look like. And Bentley has blue eyes, clearly. There's no one in my family, not even on my mom's side, who were very light-skinned, were very fair-skinned. No one has that, blue or green eyes. And his hair, granted, his hair is brown. He gets that from his mom. But I have very coarse hair, clearly. He doesn't have high cheekbones like me. So as he's gotten older, I can see more features.
Your Honor, that
He
baby
walks a
looks
little
like
different.
his mommy.
He didn't look like you even when you were a child.
Yes, ma'am. I'd love to say his nose looks like mine, but it even doesn't. I mean, there's really 3 key factors for why I doubt. It's because she didn't use unprotected sex with him. The second thing is his features. And as he's gotten older, he's 3 years now, I mean, he does walk. He doesn't carry himself the same way I did. And I know my mom used to always get on me about how I used to walk. And then the third thing is, obviously, is that, behind this conception, behind the time length.
So you have very real doubts.
Yes, ma'am.
The doctor told you the window of conception, Ms. Hoagland, was the first week of June.
Yes, and my due date was March the 19th, and I did not have Bentley until April the 2nd.
When I look at him now and I have this image of the guy that she was with before me, he does resemble him.
So does he look like your other children?
I mean, his younger brother, Presley, I mean, they have various similarities. As far as the only similarities, it's really,
I mean, you're looking up at this child like, it's like it's bizarre to you. Do you treat this child differently?
I do treat him differently because he is the oldest. I'm an only child. So when it comes to how I want to see him grow up to be a young man, I am going to treat him differently.
Your Honor, I'm sorry.
So
That's just a poor excuse to me. He treats Bentley as if he's not his son and that he doesn't have to do anything for him. Anytime Randy comes in the room, he goes and sits around right on his bed.
There's a question whether or not the marriage can survive because of all of these issues. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Ms. Hoagland, do you believe the fate of your marriage is hanging on the results for today?
Yes.
So it's funny how when I mentioned to you just the other week, because we don't live too far from, it's a river, it's a very historic river, it's called Indian Creek. But anyway, I was like,
Mr.
hey, let's
Hoagland,
go
I don't
fishing.
need a history lesson today about the historic river. I need to understand.
I know, but she's not painting the picture of where.
No. You're giving me too many irrelevant facts. I'm interested in Bentley's life, his life experience, and the issues regarding his paternity.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you've outlined your doubts, and this is so stressful that all of this drama and stress, it really got to you because you did not show up to your court appearance that was scheduled yesterday.
Yep, that is true.
Because this is a lot. That's serious. Jerome, I'm ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Hoagland versus Hoagland, pertaining to 3-year-old Bentley Hoagland, Mr. Hoagland Jr., you are Bentley's father.
Yeah! What? Yes! Thank you, Judge.
You all need to do some talking. Mr. Hoagland, you need to talk to her. And you need to understand that regardless of what you have on your plate, school, work, anything else, your children come first. Bentley comes first. That's on you. I'm hoping you will figure out how to win. Court is adjourned. Mr. Glover.
How you doing?
The next one. Thank you for joining us. State your name, please.
Javon Glover.
Javon Glover. And now, Miss Takitha Jackson is your name?
Yeah.
And you all have baby?
2 kids.
What's her name?
Najee.
Najee. And how old is she?
1 year old.
Miss Glover, you don't believe that your son, Javon, is the father of baby Najee either?
No, because I feel sorry for Takithia. You know, she had 5 kids, you know, and none of the fathers is on board. And I only want the best for her, honestly.
You're shaking your head. What are you saying, Miss Jackson?
I say even her son not even on board either, so I really don't even want to hear all that.
But I'm on board.
But
y'all
you
keep
are.
stating, but y'all keep
you
stating what
are
they
the
not
grandmother.
doing. I'm on
You
board.
didn't lay down with me and have this
And that's
child.
understandable.
All right,
That's
then, so he
understandable.
did.
Yeah,
so,
but I'm
but
on
he ain't
board.
stepped up neither. So don't sit right here and say, oh, I got 5 kids and then one of them baby dad stepped up because your son didn't
He
either.
didn't even, he don't,
May I say something?
I stand in.
But
Okay,
you are the grandmother.
Let's
That's
calm
understandable.
down.
He's the
Let's-
father.
May I say
All
something?
right, let's calm down.
May I
I
say
know this
something?
is a passionate subject. Yes, Mr. Glover, I do want to
right,
hear from you.
all right, all
because
right.
I want to hear about your doubts as to why you don't believe.
All right. First reason is she was in the, she went to the shower. Her boss called her phone, right? So while her boss called her phone, I was trying to cover for her. So I told him, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm about to get in the shower. You know what I'm saying, white guy. And he say, you know what I'm saying, let me come and rub some soap on your back.
So you know it's from her boss?
Yeah, I see the name. You know what I'm saying, I know his name. You know what I'm saying?
And then you responded to try to cover for her. You text back like, I'm getting in the shower and I'm on my way.
Exactly. And then he say, let me come rub some soap on your back. That was his text back. So I went, I exploded, and I went in the bathroom when she was at and showed her. She threw it off by saying, oh, I wouldn't have wrote nothing like that.
I wouldn't. I'm on my way. I'm getting ready for work. I'm on my way. I'm not about to sit here and tell this man I'm in the shower.
Okay,
come on now. That sounds crazy.
The next reason was, you know, I feel like, you know what I mean, she admitted to, you know what I'm saying, cheating. When she felt like, you know what I mean, this other girl that called my phone.
So you're in a relationship, you are admittedly sleeping with somebody else. You figure out he's sleeping with somebody else.
And I did the same thing.
So then you did the same thing.
Surely did.
The reason why you doubt you are the father of this child, because she admits she cheated, so you know she slept with someone else.
Yeah, so.
And you think that was during the window of conception? Was that during the same time?
It was in the beginning of the month. It was in the beginning of July, but I can see after all that, my cycle came on, toward the end of July, me and Javon got back together.
She was at her brother's house butt booty naked.
What do you mean? I was already pregnant with your child.
Mr. Glover, I need testimony, but not graphic testimony on that level. Do you understand?
I was saying, you know what I'm saying? She making it seem like she ain't trying to cheat.
And I wasn't butt booty naked either. I had a dress on.
So the point is you got back together at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Jackson, you admit that once you figured out he was cheating, you started sleeping with someone else as well.
Yes, but I had protected sex with him.
Was it during the window of conception?
No, it was not. It was in the beginning of July.
She admits she was intimate with Mr. Brady, so I would like to hear from him. Jerome, will you please escort Mr. Brady into the courtroom? Whew.
Come on with me. I'm gonna bring you right up to the witness stand next to the judge.
Don't save her.
On this side of me.
She don't wanna be saved.
Your Honor.
Hello, Mr. Brady.
How you doing?
Thank you for joining us today. We're here because we are very much interested in finding out the truth as it relates to baby Najee's paternity. And Ms. Jackson has admitted to having a sexual relationship with you. Do you agree to that?
Yes.
Please enlighten the court as to what you have to add.
Really, it was a one-night stand. We met after like 3 weeks of talking. We got a hotel room. I had a couple drinks. I remember there were condoms and whatnot, but
no condoms.
There was.
There was. There
were condoms.
So you did use protection.
Yes.
Which connects with her testimony that she said she had protected sex. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Glover.
What I don't understand is, like she just clearly screamed, she never said that he wasn't the father, but she never told me it was impossible of anybody else. It always been, your son is the father. So what happened? The bird brought him down in the beanstalk and just dropped him? Because I never knew nothing about him.
So let me ask you something.
Never.
When she got pregnant, did you know anything about it?
Never.
I did, but at the time when I called her, we fell out of contact.
So how'd you find out that the baby was here?
I didn't, up until recently.
You didn't even know?
Recently, I got a message on Facebook from her telling me we need to talk. So we exchanged numbers, and I called her. She said, I'm gonna have to go to court behind her daughter, 1-year-old Najee, because I could be the father, the potential father.
All right. Have you met the baby?
Yes.
You have? So you've gotten to hold her and see her?
Yes.
So do you think, when you look at her, do you see yourself? Do you think she's yours?
I don't.
I think it's time to get the results. Jerome? Mr. Glover, what are your hopes?
I'm furious right now, you feel me?
You feel angry?
Yeah.
Why?
Cause you saying he hold her and all that, you feel me?
So, Ms. Jackson, if you knew for certain that Mr. Glover was her father, her biological father, why would you introduce Mr. Brady to her?
Because I know I had sex with him in that same month, so.
Well, let's not wait any longer. Let's get the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Glover v. Jackson, Brady, Staton, when it comes to 1-year-old Nijay, whether Mr. Glover or Mr. Brady is the biological father. Mr. Glover, you are her father. Miss Glover, you look happy.
Oh, I am very happy.
You are?
Yes.
Good.
She looked like him. She favored him a whole lot.
And how about you, Miss Jackson?
Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. I don't have to hear these words, oh, that's not my baby no more. I don't have to deal with it. I've been dealing with it for a year now. I'm done. I'm glad. I'm happy.
Ms. Reed, you say the father of your 3-month-old son, Keandre, was tragically murdered early this year. You claim his mother, Miss Campbell, is the biological grandmother, and you are here to prove it today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Campbell, you claim you've never heard of Ms. Reed prior to your son's death, nor did your son ever tell you he was expecting a child. You feel Ms. Reed is motivated by money, and you refuse to accept her baby until the DNA proves otherwise. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Reed, explain. Why are you so desperate to prove that Ms. Campbell is your son's grandmother?
Today, Your Honor, I'm here to prove it because family means everything to me. Because when I didn't meet my dad, I didn't meet my father till I was 14. And I don't want that for Keandre. So I'm here today to prove to Miss Campbell, to Angela, that that she is his biological grandchild. But inside my heart, like, I try not to be mean about it, but inside my heart, I feel like she's being selfish about it. And I know that she don't know me, but I'm just here to prove that Keandre is her grandchild.
I'm not being selfish, I'm just being cautious.
I understand.
Ms. Campbell, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
All of you. And I know this is very difficult. You say you're being cautious.
Yes.
Can you tell the court why you feel that way?
I love all babies, don't get me wrong. But if it's a baby that belongs to me, I would like to know that. And I don't want to fall in love with a baby and then end up, I can't be with that child anymore.
And you're afraid you've lost your son. You don't want to lose the baby.
Exactly. Because he'll be another version of my son.
Right. You can understand that, can't you, Miss Reed?
Yes, ma'am. See, Your Honor, like, me and Kendrick was, like, true enough, we was friends with benefits, but he was also, like, my best friend, Your Honor. So, like, when he died, it's like a part of me left with him.
And how long were you say you were friends with benefits. How long was this arrangement, this relationship? How long?
It was 8 years, Your Honor.
So even while you were in relationships with other people and you were still having sex with one another?
Yes.
So, Ms. Campbell, I know we have to have such difficult testimony right now, but we're just trying to understand this as it relates to the paternity matter. I need to ask you, Ms. Reed has testified that she was a friend with benefits. Did your son ever mention a friend?
No, Your Honor.
In Ms. Reed?
No, Your Honor. I knew nothing about her up until my son passed, and I heard she gave me a few phone calls after his death, and that was the only time I heard from her. She told me that she was pregnant by my son. So I was curious on how come I was just not finding out about her being pregnant by my son.
And your son never even mentioned Ms. Reed was having his baby potentially, that someone was having his baby?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing?
No, Your Honor. Not a thing.
And when he passed, how many months along were you, Ms. Reed?
I was 5, Your Honor. And the day that Kendra died, February the 24th of this year. And when I found out, it was February 25th. After I just left the doctor's office, finding out that I was having a little boy. And that was something that Kendra always wanted, was a son.
He always told me he always wanted a son. But he never told me that he was about to be pregnant by one.
So you know he wanted a son, but he never said, Mom, and I'm having one.
No. I always heard from Kendrick. Kendrick would always tell me what was going on, especially if he was having a baby.
And what was your relationship like with your son? It sounds like you were very close.
Yeah, we had a real close relationship. Because I always used to tell Kendrick, I don't care what you do, what nobody say about you. You keep your head up. And you always call me, let me know what's going on with you, because I never know what's going on with you. And I tell all of them, I want to keep up with all y'all, because see, I stayed in Troy, and he stayed down there in Montgomery. And I always tell them, y'all call me regardless. Don't let me have to come call y'all. I won't hear from y'all after 2, 3, 4 months before I hear from any of y'all, because you never know what happened. And just so happened, I had to get my other sons to come to my house and tell me my son was gone.
Oh.
And that was the worst feeling of my life.
Oh, I know.
I never want to go through that again. That's why I tell all of them, never not call me. Tell months being months and months without calling me or let me know what's going on with y'all.
And you feel like with all that communication and everything you shared, if he thought he was having a son, you feel like he would have told.
Yeah, he would have told me that. He wouldn't not did, because he always would tell me if he's having a baby by someone. Because he always used to talk about if I had a son, what would he do? He had that girl, but he never did get a chance to live and see him having a boy.
So, Miss Reed, can you tell the court, when was the first time you met Miss Campbell?
It was, the first time I met Miss Campbell, it was the day we went to the funeral home to see Kendrick in, Kendrick's body. That's when I told her who I was, and I told her that, I was the one who having a child by Kendrick. And I gave her ultrasound pictures stating that it was a boy, and ultrasound pictures of the baby. And I was like, then that's when me and her both, I told her if she wanted a DNA test, I would give her one. And we both agreed, that once the baby was born, we was gonna have a DNA test.
Do you remember that conversation, Miss Campbell?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
And you agreed to the DNA test because you did want to know?
Exactly.
Did you participate in the birth? Were you there?
No, I didn't know anything about when she had the baby. I didn't know. Only time I found out when she had the baby, when she contacted me in July, I think it was July 3rd.
But if you had such a cooperative conversation with Miss Campbell and she agreed about the DNA test and you're certain that her son is Keandre's biological father, why not include her in all of the birth, the doctor's appointments, the updates? Why not include her?
Okay, at the birth was so sudden, Your Honor, because I supposed to have Keandre on July the 1st. Keandre came June the 30th. And so the first person I contacted was D. And I told him I was having Keandre that day. And when I came back out, I texted and told D that I had Keandre. And he was like, well, I'm gonna come tomorrow to see the baby. So I said, okay, good. But by me not thinking about Miss Campbell right then, because I was so highly sedated under the medicine, Your Honor, it's just the first person I thought about was just D to contact. But I'm sorry that I'm sorry, and I'm sorry that I did not contact you for the birth or anything like that.
Yeah, because I felt like if he is my grandson, I should have been there. I should have been the first one to be called.
That's why I said I'm sorry. I did not know. I'm sorry. I'm truly is. From the bottom of my heart, I am really sorry.
I'd like to hear from the witness. Sir, can you please stand? Step over to the podium and state your name for the court.
My name is DeQuandre Campbell.
Okay. And Mr. Campbell, you are Miss Campbell's other son?
Yes, ma'am.
You are Kendrick's brother?
Yes.
All right. You remember Ms. Reed calling you and saying that the baby was coming?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that Keandre is your brother Kendrick's biological son?
Yes, ma'am. I believe he's the father because I don't believe, she would take us through all of what she's been taking us through for it not to be his.
So, Ms. Reed, I want to ask you, how are you so certain that Kendrick is Keandre's biological father when you admit you all were not in an exclusive committed relationship, you both dated other people too? How do you know for certain?
Because, Your Honor, around about the date of contraception, it's in September. And during the whole month of September, me and Kendrick was around each other all the time.
And you weren't having sex with anybody else during that time?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor.
DeQuandre, you may have a seat. Miss Campbell, you've met Keandre, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You've seen the baby. When was the first time you saw him?
The first time I saw Keandre was in the court where we was going to try to do a DNA, and she didn't ask me. I would thought she would have asked me, could I hold him? Could I could see him. This is your grandbaby. She didn't introduce me to him, even though I knew that's the baby, and it made me even more not think that he's my grandson, because I'm like, if he's my grandson, why can't I hold him? Why can't I look at him?
Ms. Reed, that does sound odd.
I understand, Your Honor, but it was kind of cool in the courtroom where we was at, and Keandre had on a onesie, and he wasn't nothing but 2 months at the time, and by it being cold, and then plus at the same time, Keandre was asleep.
I understand where you're coming from, but given the circumstances, it would feel odd to me as a grandmother.
Yeah, I think it's just because of the death benefits.
You feel like she's more concerned about the money?
Money, yes.
Is that the case, Ms. Reed?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor. Not saying this in a bad way, but since Keandre been here on this earth, Your Honor, I've been taking care of Keandre ever since. Because that's just the type of parent I am. And I don't ask nobody for nothing, because I feel like he's true enough, he's my responsibility, but I feel like since by him being my responsibility, I'm gonna have to make stuff work for me.
And we really are dealing with some very high stakes as well.
Yes, ma'am.
At this point, if Kendrick is his biological father, he's unfortunately gonna grow up never having known his father. But I need to ask you something. I feel like for you to be involved with him for so many years, and you to admit that you both dated other people, are you sure, Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Sure that you didn't date anybody else during that time?
No.
Because it wasn't like you all were in a relationship.
Right. But at the time, no, ma'am, I did not date anybody else. Kendrick was the only person that I dated at that time. Now, he had other hidden agenda, because the day that I came out to Miss Angela revealed that Kendra had a whole nother girlfriend. So obviously, Kendra had a lot going on.
So there's a lot at stake here, because truthfully, neither one of you have very real trust, because you don't know one another.
No.
Yes, right.
No, I don't.
I think it's time we get the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Kendrick Campbell, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parent, Angela Campbell. These are the results. In the case of Reed versus Campbell, when it comes to 3-month-old Keandre Reed, it has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness is 99%. You are related.
Oh, can I get your
that.
I told you.
Thank you. I needed that. Now I got my son all over again.
I told you.
Mr. Campbell, you want to go stand with your mom? You all have been through so much. Sometimes it's, you know, it just feels so dark. It's hard to find a silver lining. It's hard to find some light. It's hard to find some hope. And I just hope this truth today, Miss Campbell.
Yes, it is. It's closure. That's all I wanted.
Yes.
Closure. Now I got it. Thanks to you.
I say often, they call me Your Honor, but it really is my honor. It really is. It is truly my honor to help you find the closure you need, to just keep trying to move forward.
I will.